It started like any other morning, quiet and ordinary, the kind of day you don't expect to change your life forever. I had my coffee in my hand, the sunlight coming through the window, and for a moment everything felt normal. But life doesn't warn you before it breaks you. It doesn't send signs in bold letters. It just happens. And that day, something was about to happen that I never saw coming. I trusted him, completely. I trusted the way he looked at me, the way he spoke to me, the way he promised me things about the future. I believed we were solid, unshakable. We had built something that felt real. At least that's what I thought. Before the betrayal, our life felt simple. Morning routines, late-night talks, small laughs that made everything feel safe. He would hold my hand like I was the only person in the world. He would tell me I mattered. And I believed him. Love has a way of making you blind. It makes you ignore the little things, the small cracks, the moments that don't make sense. Looking back, the signs were there. Late nights that weren't explained properly. A phone that was always turned away. A smile that sometimes felt forced. But I told myself I was overthinking. I wanted to believe in him more than I wanted to believe in doubt. That's the dangerous part about trust. You give it freely, and you don't realize how expensive it becomes until it's stolen from you. Then came the moment. The moment that split my life into two parts, before and after. It happened so suddenly, so quietly, that it almost felt unreal. I saw a notification flash on his screen, just for a second. A name I didn't recognize, a message that didn't feel innocent. My heart stopped. I told myself not to jump to conclusions, but something inside me tightened like my instincts were screaming. When he stepped away, I stared at the phone, my hands cold, my mind racing. I shouldn't have looked. But I did, and what I found wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't harmless. It was betrayal, clear and undeniable. Messages filled with intimacy, lies wrapped in casual words, conversations that had no place in our relationship. My breath became shallow, my body froze. It felt like the room was spinning, but I couldn't move. I kept scrolling, hoping I would find something that made it less real. But every swipe made it worse. Photos, plans, secrets. The truth sitting right there, staring back at me. The person I loved wasn't who I thought he was. He had been living a double life, smiling in my face while hiding everything behind my back. The pain wasn't just emotional. It was physical, like something heavy pressing on my chest. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to confront him right then and there, but something stopped me. A strange calm. Because in that moment, I realized something important. If I reacted too fast, he would deny it. He would twist it. He would make me look crazy. People like him don't admit the truth when they're cornered. They manipulate it. They rewrite it. So I stayed silent. Not because I was weak, because I was thinking. That night, he came back like nothing had happened. He smiled at me. He asked me how my day was. He kissed my forehead. And every part of me wanted to collapse. But I didn't. I looked into his eyes and realized how easy lying was for him. How natural. And that's when the heartbreak turned into something else, something sharper, something stronger. He thought I didn't know. He thought he was safe, and that was his biggest mistake. Over the next few days, I became a different person inside. On the outside, I played my role perfectly. I laughed when he joked. I nodded when he spoke. I acted normal. But my mind was awake, watching, studying, learning. I started noticing everything. The way he guarded his phone. The way he disappeared for work. The way his excuses never fully matched. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was aware. Betrayal changes you. It forces you to see reality without the softness of love. And reality was brutal. He wasn't sorry. He wasn't scared. He was confident. He believed he could have everything and I would stay blind. That arrogance lit a fire in me because I realized revenge wasn't about yelling. It wasn't about making a scene. Real revenge was about timing, about control, about exposing someone at the exact moment they least expected it. I didn't want to destroy him physically. No, that's not real power. The real power was truth. The real weapon was exposure. Because the thing he cared about most wasn't love. It was his image, his reputation, the mask he wore for the world. And I knew if I took that mask away, I would take everything. So I began collecting proof quietly. Screenshots, dates, messages, details. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I moved carefully, like someone playing chess while the other person thought it was just a game. Every piece mattered. Every step mattered. At night, when he slept peacefully beside me, I stayed awake staring at the ceiling, not crying anymore, just planning. I asked myself one question again and again. What does he fear the most? And the answer was clear. He didn't fear losing me. He didn't value me enough for that. He feared losing respect. He feared people seeing who he really was. He feared the truth, and that's when I understood. The truth would be my revenge. The days passed and he became even more careless. He thought everything was fine. He even said one night, almost laughing, that I seemed calmer lately. I smiled and told him I was at peace. He believed it. He had no idea that peace wasn't forgiveness. Peace was preparation. Then the perfect opportunity appeared. An upcoming gathering. A night where everyone would be there. Friends, co-workers, people who admired him. The exact audience he never wanted to disappoint. The stage was setting itself up perfectly, and he didn't even notice. The trap wasn't loud. It wasn't obvious. It was silent, and it was already closing around him. The closer the event came, the more I could feel the tension building inside me. Not fear, not doubt, just anticipation. Like the calm before a storm that only I knew was coming. He walked around the house like a man with no worries, smiling, joking, acting like life was still under his control. And that was almost the hardest part, watching him live so easily inside his lies. I reminded myself every day he didn't know. He had no idea that the ground beneath him was already cracking. I kept playing my role perfectly. I didn't ask questions. I didn't show suspicion. I let him believe I was still the same person who trusted him completely. Because the moment he sensed danger, he would run, he would hide, he would twist the story. And I wasn't going to give him that chance. Revenge isn't rushed. Revenge is precise. The day of the gathering arrived. The air felt different. Even the sunlight seemed sharper, like the world itself was holding its breath. He acted normal, completely unaware. We arrived, and the place was filled with people. Laughter, music, bright lights, familiar faces. Everyone greeted him warmly. Everyone smiled at him with admiration. And he soaked it in like he deserved it. Then I saw her, the one from the messages. For a moment, anger flickered inside me, but I pushed it down. This wasn't about her. This was about him. As the evening went on, people gathered closer. Someone announced a toast. The room slowly quieted. He stood proudly, smiling, ready to be celebrated, and I knew this was the perfect moment. I stepped forward, calm. I pressed a button on my phone, connecting it to the large screen behind the stage. The first message appeared. His name, her name. The conversation that proved everything. The room froze. Laughter stopped. Conversations died mid-word. People turned slowly to look at him. His confident smile vanished instantly. Another screenshot appeared. Another truth revealed. Each one heavier than the last. His face turned pale, his voice shook. He tried to speak, but no words came out. People who admired him were staring like he was a stranger, and I stayed calm, letting the truth do the work. I looked at him directly and asked softly, "Do you have anything to say?" He couldn't answer. His mask had fallen. His reputation collapsed in seconds. That night I walked out with my dignity intact. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I simply left. The betrayal no longer owned me. The anger turned into clarity. And I realized the real revenge wasn't destruction. It was exposure. It was truth. It was peace. No one saw it coming, but I did. The next morning, I woke up with a strange sense of calm. Not the fake kind of calm where you pretend everything is fine. This was real, sharp, focused. The betrayal had cut deep, yes, but it had also awakened something inside me. Something stronger than fear, stronger than sadness. It was strategy. It was patience. I moved around the house, quiet, deliberate, as if I belonged to a world no one else could see. I watched him sleep, completely unaware, trusting the same person he had deceived. And that trust, that ignorance, it became my ally. Every smile he offered me, every touch, every casual word, I stored it in my mind, analyzing, nodding, predicting. Because I knew one thing with absolute certainty. The person who thinks he is untouchable is always the easiest to destroy. I started collecting everything silently. Screenshots, recordings, little hints of conversations he had hidden. Every detail mattered. Every small piece of evidence was a thread that, when woven together, would unravel him completely. He never suspected me. He continued his routines as though life was a stage and he was the star. He smiled at me, joked with friends, even tried to make me laugh. Each moment, each gesture only fueled the fire inside me. My plan wasn't rushed. I didn't confront him. I didn't hint at suspicion. I let him live in his false sense of security because the longer he stayed blind, the more devastating the fall would be. Days turned into nights. I moved like a shadow through our lives, invisible, calculating. I studied his habits, his relationships, who he trusted, and how he portrayed himself to the world. I found the perfect moment, a gathering where everyone he wanted to impress would be present. Friends, coworkers, people who admired him, people who had been quietly watching him rise. I made my move quietly. A message here, a nudge there, a hint to the right person that would set the stage. I didn't overdo it. I didn't make noise. I let curiosity grow naturally. He remained unaware, playing the part of the charming, confident man, entirely convinced he was still in control. That evening, we arrived at the event. The place buzzed with laughter, music, and small chatter. The lights reflected off the walls like they were spotlighting his entire life, every false smile, every hidden secret. He mingled, greeting everyone with ease, completely at peace. And I watched, calmly, strategically. Then, when the room was perfectly arranged and his attention was fully captured by the crowd, I pressed the button. The first message appeared on the screen behind the stage. Names, conversations, undeniable proof of the double life he had led. The room went silent. The laughter stopped mid-word. Every eye turned toward him. His confident expression faltered. The first flicker of panic appeared in his eyes. He tried to speak, tried to explain, but the words choked in his throat. Each screenshot, each proof of betrayal added weight, crushing the image he had built so meticulously. He looked around desperately, searching for allies, searching for some way to escape. But there was none. Everyone could see, everyone knew. And in that moment, I understood the most powerful truth about revenge. It is quiet, it is precise, and it is devastatingly effective when timed perfectly. The mask he had worn for years fell piece by piece, replaced by raw reality. And I felt no joy in watching it collapse. I felt calm, resolute, free. He had underestimated me, underestimated the power of the one he had betrayed. He had assumed I would crumble, that I would react with anger or tears. But I had prepared. I had waited. I had observed. And now the truth was unstoppable.